Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Ben Ashton. Thank you all for joining me again tonight as we go ahead and we read today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Now, normally this again would be where I tell you this will be the first time I read it, but this is the second time I'm recording this again due to Chrome crashing. So I'm going to have to figure out a better way to do this. I was all the way through it too. So you're going to get the second take. So I apologize for that, and I usually always like to keep it a fresh impression, but that's just not how it turned out today. I'm gonna, like I said, figure out another way to do it. But so this will be my second time reading it with y'all right here on the podcast, and I'll try to keep all of as many of the original thoughts as I can along the way. But a lot of it is just right off the top of the head, so it won't be exact. But I appreciate your patience with me on that. So here we go, though. This is August 17th from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Let your heart grow large and loving and unselfish, and great and lasting will your influence and success. And great and lasting will be your influence and success. Cultivate a pure and unselfish spirit, and combine with purity and faith singleness of purpose, and you are evolving from the elements, enduring success of greatness and power. If your present position is distasteful to you and your heart is not in your work, nevertheless, perform your duties with scrupulous diligence. Excuse me, stutter there. And whilst resting your mind in the idea that the better position and greater opportunities are waiting for you, ever keep an active mental outlook for budding possibilities, so that when the critical moment arrives and the new channel presents itself, you will step into it with your mind fully prepared for the undertaking. Learn by constant practice how to husband your resources and to concentrate them at any moment upon a given point. This is actually a fantastic reading for today. It has an important principle that we're talking about here, important virtue, and we're talking about practice, right? And just the opening line was just great. The first, the very first opening line that I used, and this whole reading is something that's very pertinent to my life, and it's very important to many, I believe, and they need to hear these types of messages. And it's something that I'm extremely grateful for at the end of the day. So let's get into it. Let your heart grow grow large and loving and unselfish. Let your heart grow large, loving, and unselfish. Those are pretty important characteristics for an individual to have. So large, inclusive to so many, to all humankind. Loving, I mean, that's self-explanatory. Loving, to have the person's best life in mind for everything, and unselfish, to be of service, right? So we're talking about compassion, love, and service. That's how we practice these things. And then when we do that, when we practice these spiritual principles and virtues, an indirect consequence is simply great and lasting will be your influence and success, right? And I say this, and I want to also point out that great and lasting will be your success. Right? Great and lasting will be your influence and success. Though those are a consequence of living that way, though they are a consequence of letting your heart grow large and loving and unselfish, they can't be the goal. Right? I talk about on here often, we take the right action for the right reason because it's the right thing to do, not because I want power, I want success, I want influence. Much different things, much different scenario, though it might look the same on the surface. It's much different. So here we go. Here's the main body of the reading. Cultivate a pure and unselfish spirit. Pure, right? And it says cultivate that as well. Pure and unselfish. And I like that he phrases it this way because I can tell you from my own personal experience, it's not an overnight matter, right? This is something that I've had to put work into, time, effort, energy, attention. I needed help with it. This the purification process, the ability to become less selfish, let's say, become unselfish. It's been a journey. I do it much better today, but I'm not perfect at it. But I needed a lot of help to get there, right? So cultivate a pure and unselfish spirit. So a pure and unselfish spirit, and combined with purity and faith, singleness of purpose. That's a pretty drastic thing. Just I wanted to mention this. I was reading a book on meditation and the silence. It's called by Evie Ingram. Great book. You can get a PDF of it right online to print out if you'd like. But it's fantastic, and it talks about in there our attention and how it needs to be single-mindedness, right? We need to choose a direction, a purpose we're aiming at, a purpose we're going towards, a focus we are trying to achieve, right? Singleness of purpose gives us clarity and direction. It gives us momentum, and it helps to focus all of our resources. So there's a couple of things there. Pure and unselfish spirit, and combine with purity and faith, singleness of purpose. So pure intentions and practiced faith with a singleness of purpose. You got a very powerful combination. He says, and you are evolving from the elements, enduring success of greatness and power. So when all those things combine, you're evolving, enduring success of greatness and power. You're taking all of those things and creating. And it's pretty amazing that these are the side effects, the indirect um, uh, achievements or indirect um, attributes of these things, of living right, of following a way of life, right? Enduring success of greatness, of power, and of power. Pretty, pretty heavy stuff, pretty powerful sentence right there. So, and now this is a part that I needed to hear today, and I think many do. This is what I was talking about. If your present position is distasteful to you and your heart is not in your work, so if you don't like your job, if you don't like what you're doing, this is for you. And your heart is not with your work, so it's not your passion, right? That's a big thing people talk about today. Nevertheless, let's say this again. Nevertheless, so regardless of if you don't like your job, it's not your passion. Nevertheless, perform your duties with scrupulous diligence. Right? Scrupulous diligence. Do your job well, is what that means. I'm going to look up scrupulous real quick just so I have the official definition. Diligent, thorough, extremely attentive to details. So do your job thoroughly, do your job well. and do it and pay and with diligence, with um seriousness, with speed, with urgency. And whilst resting your mind in the idea that a better position and greater opportunities are waiting for you. So, in your current circumstance, do your job, do it well. Don't hold on to that reservation or resentment that, oh, I don't really like it. I don't like my boss. I don't like the people I work with. I don't like my coworkers. Don't like the clientele. Whatever it might be, whatever you try to justify to yourself, to slack, to take those moments to yourself. Don't do that. There's fulfillment in doing a job well and a job well done, right? There's some contentment with soul when you do that. Even if you don't like it, well, usually probably especially when you don't like it because it takes more effort and willingness and openness. So the reward is actually greater at the end of the day. But when you can do that, you practice this principle, this discipline, right? You keep your mind on the idea that a better position and greater opportunities are waiting for you, right? You do this well to make sure you're ready for the opportunities that come down the line. Ever keep an active mental outlook for budding possibilities. So we're aware. And that's another thing too. If you're miserable all the time, if you're constantly in a state of um I hate my job, I don't see the point, and the negative miserable mindset, you'll miss opportunities. Actually, you'll miss the opportunity to be a certain way, to grasp a certain life, to make a certain move that you should have made. So, ever keep an active mental outlook for budding possibilities so that when the critical moment arrives and the new channel presents itself, you will step into it with your mind fully prepared for the undertaking. And you wonder why your mind's fully prepared is because you've been practicing, you've been disciplined about working, you've been diligent about your quality of work, right? So these skills need to be built so you can be ready for the opportunities when they present themselves. It's real easy to justify laziness and shirk your responsibilities, but then when the real opportunity shows up, you can't hack it because you didn't take the appropriate time to discipline yourself to enjoy that opportunity fully. And it's a real shame, actually, because if we just kept in mind that this too shall pass, life would be so much different. Now the closing line, learn by constant practice, right there. Learn by constant practice how to husband your resources, properly allocate your resources, and to concentrate them at any given moment upon a given point. So this is a practice on proper time allocation, proper energy allocation, proper effort, and then to be able to concentrate them at any moment about a given point. So be able to bring your focus to where it needs to be in any given point in every given time. And that is what you learn by having this diligence, having this practice. So, all right, let's hope this one saves again for us tonight. And thank you all for joining me. And again, I apologize. This was the second time through, but it's still just as magnificent as it was the first time. So, thank you all for jumping on with me. I look forward to tomorrow's reading, and I'll be on again then. So, until next time, thanks.